YouTube, how's it going? Today I'm going to be going over a Q&A from questions you asked on Twitter. I picked 15 questions because, there was a lot of questions that were similar. I didn't want to repeat the same questions, but if you do like this video, let me know and I could do it again, answer some more questions. But I just wanted to give y'all a chance to get to know me better and be able to interact with y'all. So, starting out with the first question comes from COD Graphics. He said, "What got you to enjoy designing? What motivates you? And any tips for designers that just started?" He said, "What/who got you to enjoy designing?" And I'll actually pop up the questions above right here. So, you know, for me, designing really started as a hobby. I was kind of big in the competitive gaming scene, Call of Duty and specifically. Um, and I just wanted a professional looking Twitter header for my page. I'd reach out to somebody. I was like, "Yo, how much for a Twitter header?" And he was like, $25. And I was like, in college, I'm broke. Not going to happen. So I looked up how to make my own, made my own header. And some guy reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, man, I'll pay you to make me one." And I was like, "Perfect." So he made me one, and I started thinking I could probably make a side hustle out of this, which I did. I quit my job that I was doing in college and started working design as my job to make money while I was in school. And as I did that, I just fell in love with it, and I've been running with it ever since. In terms of what motivates me, like I was just talking about, I love it. So, there's not much needed to keep me motivated. I just love what I do. I want to learn everything there is to learn about it, which I know in this field you'll never stop learning. You're going to always have to keep growing and learning new things to stay ahead. In terms of tips for designers that just started, I would say the best tip I could probably give is really try to study, learn, and grow yourself before you go on social media and try to grow your pages. Really take a lot of time to understand design, philosophy, whatever it may be. Whatever you want to learn, just, go on YouTube, watch tutorials, take notes, and learn and grow yourself before you try to grow on some platform. Just starting out. That would be my best piece of advice. For question number 2, we have Jayhawk Visuals, and he asked, "How did you get the opportunity to work for 100 Thieves and 1%? And is college design school worth it?" So in terms of going to design school, I really don't know. I didn't do it myself. And actually, my friend Noak Design, he does have a video on it. If you want to go check his channel out, he went to design school. He did a whole video on whether it's worth it or not. For me personally, I don't think it's something that you have to do, just because I didn't do it. And YouTube has so many resources that you can go on there and learn. You can learn whatever you want, really. You just have to be dedicated enough to go do it. That's the difference. Some people need to go to school because they can't stay motivated or dedicated to keep learning every day if they're not in school. When you're in school, you're going to have to do it or else you're going to fail. So that is one thing. And I'm sure there's plenty of good resources that you learn from design school. But for me personally, it wasn't hard to stay motivated. I love, learning and watching new things. And I have, Google Docs full of notes for different parts of design, web design, motion design, whatever it may be. So I don't think you have to go to design school if you don't want to. And in terms of how did I get the opportunity to work for 100 Thieves and 1%, with 1%, which came first, I was just working and posting consistently, just 1% work, just to, kind of grow myself. And at the same time, I was kind of going for this team that was new. And, they noticed me. They reached out to me and they said, "Hey, man, we need you to make an announcement for our new editor, Spicy Visuals." And I was like, "Awesome, let's do it." And he was like, "And also make yourself one." So the day that I joined 1% was the day that I found out I joined 1%. So that was awesome. And for 100 Thieves, they had a job posting. A lot of people were like, "Yo, don't even go for that," because there's a ton of good people going for that. There's people that have worked with FaZe going for that, and I was, you can't let that stop you. There's always going to be bigger and better people going for something. But if you got the drive, if you put it in the effort, you always have a shot. So, I applied for it. I went for it, and they ended up reaching back out to me, and now I'm working for them, which is, a surreal experience for me because I've been watching Nadeshot since he worked at McDonald's. and I've been watching Cesso forever. So to be working with them, it's a pleasure. And then obviously Noack Design on the team and all the great people on that team. They just make it a great experience to work there. So it's enjoyable, and I love doing it. Question number 3 comes from Zello. He said, will you ever teach someone? And that's actually what I hope to do with this channel. So, if I can start to be more consistent, obviously, because I haven't been, I'm hoping to, like, at least once a week post tutorials or tips and tricks, hence anything that I can do to kind of help you guys out. And maybe stuff that I can even learn, and as I learn it, teach you guys. So, yeah, that would be the main thing in terms of answering that question. Question number 4, what's the best header I've ever made? I don't know if there's like I don't know if I can decide on a best. 2 of my favorites probably were probably the nade shot header, which I'll post up above here, that I recently made, as well as the Knicks header from 1%. I really like making real life headers using real pictures. So those are probably 2 of my favorite. Question number 5 comes from Dylan. Hashtag 1% Dylan. How do you keep yourself motivated every day? I think I touched on it a little bit in the beginning of the video, but it's really not too hard to keep myself motivated just because I'm doing what I love every day, so I could do it all day, any day. And obviously that's not to say that you don't get tired sometimes and like you need a rest, because obviously that's healthy for you. So you do need to do that. But I just want to be the best me I could be in this field. And that's what keeps me motivated. I know that there's a ton to learn, a ton to grow on, and there's so many things that I don't know because the field is so big. So that's really what keeps me motivated, is trying to learn everything that I can learn. So yeah, great question. Okay, question number 6 comes from APAC. He said, is there ever a point in your life where you had to make a hard decision that ended leading you to where you are right now? And yeah, so like I talked about, I went to college for finance. I graduated summa cum laude. I was top 10% of my class. So when I got out of college, everybody in my family was like, all right, get a job. Like, come on. And, I went like 8 or 9 months out of college, not having a job yet in terms of like a full-time salaried position. And it's a little scary because I was taking a risk going for a totally different field. Like I said, I graduated in finance, but now, I knew that graphic design was what I loved, so I went for it. This whole past year with COVID hitting and everything, I thought it was the perfect time because a lot of places weren't hiring anyway, so I wanted to pursue my dream. And now I've just gotten closer and closer. And then eventually, I started working with 1%, and then just got the job with 100 Thieves. So things have been looking good now, but it was definitely a risk, and it was definitely scary taking that risk. Question number 7 comes from Shadow J. He said, what would be your advice to someone that is new to design? And I think there was a question like this in the beginning, but just to retouch on it, it's just growing yourself, right? So don't worry about going for clout on some social media app. I know that's what a lot of people are focused on, but just study. Just study, take notes. Those are the 2 main things: study and take notes. If you do that and you really get a good understanding for design, then your brand will grow a lot faster than if you're just trying to grow your brand before getting really good with design. So yeah, that'd be my best advice. Question number 8 comes from Jordan. He said, do your parents know / support your life in the community? And yes, they do. I mean, they do now. They didn't really understand it when I was in college, and I told them, I picked it up as a hobby. And when I came back from college, I had to kind of explain it to them. But, they did support me, which I was lucky on. I would say my mom got a little bit more worried because she didn't really understand the whole, designing for esports and such. When I'd say esports, like esports. And they didn't really understand it, but they're starting to get it now. I kind of show them what I do. And, yeah, they're supportive, so I'm super appreciative for that. Next question. Question number 9 comes from 06. He said, will you ever quit or pursue something else? So I'm never going to quit, right? I'm always learning, always always trying to get better and improve. In terms of pursuing something else, the only thing really would be a creative director. That's one of my goals in the future. I have a ton more to learn before I ever get to that position. Um, but I would eventually like to be a creative director. I think that would be awesome, and it's something I really aspire to be. Question number 10 comes from Urba. He said, has anyone ever tried to steal or copy your designs? And if so, what did you do? So obviously there have been people in the past that have tried to copy my designs or have copied them. But I don't get into drama anymore. I don't like really respond to it. If I am gonna respond to it, I respond to DMs. And I think that's what most people should do. Even if you're not in an org right now, right? But I'm in two. I'm in two at the moment, so when I'm thinking about what I post on Twitter, I also have to think about the brands that I'm representing. Even if you're not in one, you should be thinking about, the future when teams come to look at your page and see if it's professional. Try to keep your page professional as possible. I know people will say, oh, Twitter's not a place you need to be professional, but I mean, for me personally, I've always just kept it all professional, and I've liked to keep it all professional on all social media platforms. Just so there's really no dirt to dig up on you in the future, if you are trying to get a job. Question number 11 comes from Tiger. He said, what strategies do you use to market your brand and for networking? So in marketing my brand, I've mainly done it through two platforms, which are Instagram and Twitter. I haven't been as consistent on Instagram, so I haven't seen as much growth, and I need to be more consistent on YouTube because I'd like to grow there as well. But Twitter is where I was really successful because of consistency. I posted every day, consistently good work for, at least like 9 or 10 months straight. And in those 10 months, I went from 1,000 followers all the way to now I'm at nearly 8,500, somewhere around there, which is really crazy growth, especially in design. And in terms of networking, I just always had to reach out to people, especially when you're still, not as known. You need to reach out to other people because not everybody's going to come to you. I remember times where I would literally go on YouTube gaming and get into small streamers chats and be like, hey man, I'm a designer, this is what I can do, here's my portfolio, if you need to reach out to me, here's my email. I would hit a bunch of people up, and that's how I would get a lot of my clients. I would go and spend hours just reaching out to people. So sometimes that's what it takes, at least until you grow your brand. But yeah, good question. Wish you the best of luck. Question number 12. Who's your favorite designer? So the first person I ever watched, the first tutorial I ever watched was Cesso. So he'll always probably be one of my favorite designers. And now I'm working alongside him, which is just, it's awesome. I didn't, if you would have told me a year ago that I'd be working alongside Cesso, I would have said you were crazy. What he's done for the community, I think is quite awesome. He's taught so many people. You can ask almost anybody on Twitter, hey, do you know who Cesso is? Of course, everybody knows because he's taught almost everybody that's come up into this field as of recent, which is just quite crazy, and it's awesome to see that he was able to help so many people, including myself. And one more I would say is Edward Design. He hasn't been as active recently, but he was definitely somebody else that I watched a lot as I was growing as a designer. So I'll always be appreciative to him for everything that he taught me through YouTube. Question number 13 comes from Jay. He said, what was the best moment of your design career? And I can't narrow it down to one. It would have to be two, which would be joining 1%, and then joining 100 Thieves. 1% being such a highly touted content creation team, and they're only on the incline. They were a team that I think in a month hit 1 million subs, which I don't think anybody's ever done that, which was absolutely insane. And being a part of that team now is an unbelievable and surreal thing. So I'm super appreciative for that. And then you got 100 Thieves, which, like I said earlier in the video, I've been following Nadeshot forever now. And then I've also been following Cesso forever. So to be working for both of them, it's really incredible. And I'm looking forward to the future. They have a great team over there. I'm excited to work with everybody that's over there. And yeah, so far I'm having a lot of fun. Question number 14 comes from Meme. He said, would you do design as a full-time job or rather do something else? And yeah, this is my full-time job. I'm going all in. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing except for, like I said, creative director is something I eventually want to work towards. I know that there's a lot for me to learn, a lot for me to grow on. But yeah, no, this is it. There's nothing else that I want to do job-wise because, working in this field doesn't feel like a job to me. I could do it all day and, not get tired of it. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep going with this one. Question number 15 comes from OA Sport. 100 Thieves or 1%? Why not both? Anyways, that's all for the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you did like the video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up, comment what you would want to see next, and subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.